Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is February 9th, and right now we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery. We've got some showers still across the region here this morning. You can see the storm track is well out over the Pacific Ocean, and in the meantime, we're going to drop some Arctic air back down across the Pacific Northwest, and then we're going to start to wait to see what Mother Nature has in store for us as it brings a system off across the Pacific Ocean towards the west coast of North America. How far north will that moisture spread? What kind of impacts is that going to have for the Pacific Northwest? We'll dive into some of those details as we go through the video here this morning. Taking a look at what is going on right now. Still some showers across the Cascades, maybe some western Washington, Oregon, some brief showers there. But these showers across eastern Washington, Oregon, they could drop some slick conditions down towards the roadways there. So be careful for that if you're out and about here this morning. And if you want a nice affordable home weather station, help support the channel, click on the link down below to save 10% off. Lightning detection system, ultrasonic anemometer, all solar power and wireless. Great smartphone app. Now, Spokane National Weather Service highlighting the risk to some livestock here as we go Monday through Thursday. Some very cold temperatures, brisk northerly winds also is going to help exacerbate some of those effects as well. They did put this out this morning. Great stuff from Spokane National Weather Service as usual. Now, taking a look at the ensemble mean. So the European has 50 members. It's on the left. The GFS has 30. It's on the right. And ensemble mean is one of our best forecasting tools in the mid range. And you can see models are in pretty good agreement of some kind of a system moving towards the west coast of North America with some cold air in place across the Pacific Northwest. So we have the potential for some lower elevation snowfall even west of the Cascades with this, and kind of a widespread region-wide snowfall if we get things to line up just right. So taking a look at precipitable water. So this kind of gives you a visual indicator of this Arctic air spreading out across Pacific Northwest. Initial surge of moisture moves into California. Then we wait to see what the track on this low is going to be. Kind of a complex low pressure system moving towards the coastline on the European model, spreading some of that moisture. It's been hit and miss on some of the model runs on if it's going to include Seattle or not. And a lot of times when these lows move into cold air, it does spread moisture a little bit further north than what the models say. So BC, Southwest BC, not out of the woods just yet. Powerful atmospheric river also burrowing down towards Southern California. So lots to watch here over the next few days. And we'll take a detailed look at that here starting now with the European. This is last night's run, the most recent. So some of the showers moving around today into tomorrow morning out there. Arctic air mass makes its way in. You see the high pressure across BC and east of the Rocky Mountains. This initial slug of moisture moves down into California. There goes our low pressure system. It approaches the coastline. And as we go through the day Thursday, it's a timeline right now, the next Thursday, it starts to bring some of that moisture back up into Oregon. That could bring some freezing rain, some snowfall to the Willamette Valley, up towards Portland as you go through Thursday afternoon. You can see the low sitting here and just kind of hanging out on the coastline and bringing some of that moisture back up towards Seattle, potentially. Freezing rain potentially ongoing all the way through Friday morning. You can see the snow track across Pacific Northwest. Models have been bouncing around back and forth on just how far north that moisture is going to get. And then in the wake of that, it looks like we are going to start to warm up and bring some more southwesterly flow back across the area. Don't worry about that here later. Now, I want to show you here. This is what last night's or yesterday afternoon's European model ran. If I show you that, look at that low, kind of stays south and gets some of Portland, maybe some of the Willamette Valley, some freezing rain out there, and a nice swath of snow for eastern Oregon, portions of Montana on this one. But again, the models have been switching this up quite a bit. You can see yesterday's European showing the snow line more up towards Seattle, and again, some freezing rain potential there for portions of the Willamette Valley, Portland, gorge there also. And then if we go to the European artificial intelligence, this is the most recent run. You see it brings that moisture a little bit further north, and it does include some of Seattle. And of course, this would be a pretty dynamic storm for some of the Willamette Valley. This is next Thursday afternoon shown. But the previous one there, you can kind of see how it's bouncing around back and forth there. Just clipped Seattle, and again, better amounts for areas of western Oregon. And this is all the way back towards yesterday mornings where it had it all the way up towards southwest BC as well. So you can still see there is some model discrepancy, even run to run, some pretty dramatic, and that's to be expected here. You know, we're still looking out all the way towards next Wednesday, Thursday. And this is the GFS. So this one is hot off the presses here. And if I scroll through here, you can kind of see that moisture spreading up across Seattle, some freezing rain for the Willamette Valley. And yes, we got to watch that one closely as we go on in towards the end of next week. You see some of that snowfall on the GFS actually this morning continuing on in towards Saturday morning as well. Now, GFS as of last night, look at this. It was much further south with that activity. So you can see the difficulty that forecasters are going to have with this over the next few days. We're trying to see if we're going to start to get some consolidation of where this low is going to make landfall. And this is the GFS yesterday afternoon. So bouncing back and forth on which areas it's going to include. Now, in the meantime, I want to kind of show you this. These showers are still moving around out there. So heads up for that. Could create some slick conditions, especially east of the mountains. And then you can kind of see that Arctic boundary moving down across portions of Montana. And then we wrap the showers up here as we go on in through Tuesday. Initial slug of moisture you can see showing up there as well down towards California. Now, taking a look at the dew point temperature. So this kind of gives you a nice indicator, again, of the dry air moving back across the region. You see the dew points really drop off for western Washington, Oregon, eastern portions as well. You see the dry air flowing back out. I'm doing a 60-hour loop here out over the Pacific Ocean. Now, it's fun stuff here with the winds also. So this is a high-resolution North American model. We're looking at about 2,500 feet, but watch what happens here. So I'm going to scroll back. We're at the start now. This is this morning. And look at the north wind start to flow down the Okanagan River Valley. Boom, right there as you go through this afternoon and evening. Look at that flowing down out of the north. Some cool conditions ushering in some of that dry Arctic air. Fraser River outflow going by the time we get towards late tonight into tomorrow morning as well. You see it coming down through the Purcell Trench across eastern Washington. You see the easterlies flowing out through the Stampede Gap, Stevens Gap, and the gap there down is known as the Columbia River Gorge on the Washington-Oregon border. And yeah, you can see these offshore winds just absolutely flowing out there as we go through tomorrow afternoon. Some strong easterlies starting to show up there as well. So yeah, gusty conditions, cool and chilly, especially in the morning hours. Look at these winds just racing back out towards the Pacific Ocean as we go through Tuesday afternoon shown there. And we're not done with those east winds just yet, because when the system approaches, it's going to be creating that pressure gradient, a higher pressure inland, and pulling those out across some of the terrain gaps as well. Showing you that starting right now. The European goes out a bit further, but you can see as we go on in towards this evening, there goes the Okanagan River Valley, Fraser River, Purcell Trench starts to roar out across the Stampede Gap, there Columbia River Gorge as we get on in towards Tuesday morning. As I showed you on the North American model, we remain offshore and dry as we go through Wednesday, but then the next system starts to roll in here, and look at when it gets closer, really starts to pull some big winds through the Stampede Gap, and the Columbia River Gorge could get up over 70 miles per hour, up over 50 for the Stampede Gap. And then again, the track of the slow is going to mean everything. But look at some of those wind speeds coming as we go through Thursday morning, which is going to cause some additional frustrations in the forecast. I'll show you more on that here in a moment. We look at 850 millibars, and again, just kind of showing you the offshore flow as we go through Wednesday, then the system approaches as we go through Thursday morning. This is accumulated 10-meter max wind gust. I'm going to quickly scroll out here, and you'll see, again, the gorge potentially up over 70 miles per hour and the Stampede Gap up over 50 miles per hour. Now, something to mention here is that I showed this yesterday. Cold air is stubborn. It wants to hang around longer than models say it will. And places like the Columbia River Gorge, these freezing rain events can be particularly tough to scour out some of that lower level air, because all it takes is a lower level of sub-freezing air with warm air aloft rushing in above it, and you still get those glazing conditions of freezing rain accumulating on things at the surface. And models can overdo just how quickly it scours out some of that lower level cold air. And then, of course, we got this working where we get the dry compression winds. You know, it's coming off the mountains, it's sinking. It makes it difficult for the precipitation to get a bit further north. So that has to be watched as well. It's kind of difficulty with some of these forecasts here with the strong east winds ripping across the Cascades of Washington. Now, taking a look at temperatures, I've been mentioning this the last few days. We're going to be pretty darn right chilly Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning, really dropping things off. Probably not getting back above freezing for Spokane until you get towards next weekend. This is Seattle, Tacoma as well. Chilly overnight lows, and you can see Eugene right there, down in towards the teens. Portland, low 20s. Quileute, even on the Washington coast, down towards 20 degrees as well. Bellingham, brisk winds, cold overnight lows. And Boise, check it out, some single digits possible on Wednesday morning there. Now, the National Blended Models, this one, actually, let's update this because we probably have a new run. We do have the 15Z. Let's see what it shows as far as the precipitation and how far north it gets. You can see it's just kind of skirting around Seattle there. Again, more dynamic for Western Oregon here. But again, the models have been flipping back and forth off and on with that system there and just how far north that precipitation is going to get. So we'll continue to watch this here. Right now, it doesn't look like a lot of snowfall for Seattle, but that can still change. So we're right on that line. Better amounts for Portland down to the Willamette Valley. And just showing the apparent temperature here. Let's scroll through this. This takes into account wind chill factor. You can see some of the very cold temperatures there for Alberta and Montana moving across. And when you get towards the white line there, that's below 0 Fahrenheit wind chills. And you can see Seattle, Willamette Valley. By the time you get towards Wednesday morning, very chilly out there. Eastern portions below 0 wind chill factors. And same thing as you go on towards Thursday morning. And then we start to bring that system in here, and we're going to start to moderate things a bit as it burrows into this cold Arctic air mass. Big clash of air masses coming up with this Pacific Ocean system rolling into some of this very cold, dry Arctic air. So yeah, lots to watch here over the next few days. 6 to 10 days was updated yesterday. There's a 6 to 10 day precipitation, probably taking into account some of that change in our pattern with the southwest flow, 8 to 14 day temperature and 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook there. And we are drought free largely across Washington and Oregon, just a little bit for the northeast portions there. But, hopefully some of the snowfall that we did get this last round will help alleviate some of these drought conditions across some of the Rocky Mountains there that you can see there's still some extreme drought evident. And check before you go, avalanche.org. You can click on these individual areas and it'll give you snow level updates. They put pictures in here and tell you about recent avalanches also and the dangers and whatnot. They don't mince words sometimes, so yeah, they'll tell you if it's dangerous out there, but there's still some moderate risk. And you can see they even have videos now. This is pretty awesome. Taking a look at the snowpack, though, snow water equivalent below normal for Washington so far this year. Getting up close to average here for portions of western Montana and Idaho, but there is a lot of Oregon that is above average. In fact, almost all of it is above average right now. So hopefully this storm can help us out here, and we'll continue to build some of this snowpack up across the higher terrain. And looking, I showed this last night. This is the European La Nina. We're in it right now, and then you can see us climbing back out as we go through the spring and the summertime here. I'm going to be headed towards another El Nino next year. It's possible. Maybe we'll end up in a neutral year. Who knows? We'll have to see how that trends over the next few months. But anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Otherwise, we'll continue to watch and break this down. Again, Seattle right on the snow line with that next system. Better amounts across western Oregon right now, but we'll see if that has any changes in store for us over the next few days. Otherwise, we'll do this all again tomorrow. Back to work here for a few days, but I'll be updating daily, no doubt. And I will talk to you guys then.